In this module, I want to address whether or not you should go to meetings. Obviously, in Recovery University, you have support meetings. This question is more designed to answer, do you need more support than Recovery University is offering you? Or long term, once Recovery University is done, um, when and how should you decide if you're going to go to meetings? So the only meetings that I have ever participated, well, not the only, I participated in a lot of meetings. The first meetings that I learned about was the day I decided um, I I had to find a way to stop drinking. And I don't even know that I decided. My fingers took my phone and dialed the AA hotline. So I didn't know that there were so many options out there for sobriety. I only realized, or I only believed that if I wanted to quit drinking, that meant I was an alcoholic and I had to go to AA. And within 3 minutes of dialing that phone, they had funneled me into a support meeting, an AA meeting. And I attended that first meeting with my camera off. I didn't say anything. And I spent the first 2 weeks of my recovery going to AA meetings. And I can't say that they were a waste of time. I don't know what else I would have been doing. Remember when I came out of alcohol use disorder, it was early quarantine. I didn't have anywhere to go. That was one of the benefits of calling AA at that time because I didn't have to go to go to in-person meetings. That I don't think would have happened. AA promotes the philosophy for better and for worse that, the day you come in from drinking is your rock bottom. And subsequently, people don't go in until they've crashed and burned their entire lives. It's getting to be more cool and accepted and understood that you can quit drinking anytime you want. You don't have to wait until you're in jail for a DUI, your spouse has thrown you out, your children have disowned you, and you have cirrhosis. You don't have to wait for those things to happen. For me, it was day 450 of realizing I am not having fun. Like, this is not good. Um, so AA perpetuates the belief, and I think that's a huge barrier of entry of sobriety. And I love how sobriety now it's just it's being re-looked at so that it's not a question of am I an alcoholic, it's a question of could my life be better without alcohol. And if you want to answer yes to that, then you can just opt out at any time. You don't have to, again, crash and burn. So I spent 2 weeks going to AA, and that really was a space holder for me. It was very powerful. I learned a lot. Ultimately, I learned what I didn't want to do. I learned that that was not my tribe. I had a temporary sponsor that I was talking to regularly. I did everything she said, including order the big book. And as I'm reading the big book, honestly, it it was it had misogynistic, patriarchal, dated information. And I thought, uh, I'm not going to subscribe to this as though it's a Bible. It's not a Bible. It was something written in, well, a lot of people use it as a Bible. And you know what? That works for them. AA is a program like any other that if you work it, it will work. And I just decided real early on that AA was not going to be my brand. That was not what the life I wanted to create for myself. That was not my identity. That was not my tribe. So I quit going to meetings and then spent the first 5 months of my own sobriety after that doing my own thing. So, why did I decide to start going to support meetings? When should you consider going to support meetings? I was feeling very isolated. It was quarantine, so we were legit all isolated. But I had the need to have some sober friends, and I mean, so I just decided I wanted some connection. I never went to meetings thinking, as they teach you in AA, that going to meetings protects your sobriety. I was sold on sobriety, but I just needed something more. And so that's the first answer to the question, should you go to meetings? If you're ever feeling isolated and you feel like you want a tribe, meetings are a great way, a powerful way to do that. And feel it out. In any given group of meetings that you want to go to, they're not all the same. And people are people. And you're going to run into personalities that you like, and you're going to run into personalities of people that you can't tolerate. So, the thing that I would recommend if you ever decide to try support meetings for any reason is to understand that you have to invest time and consistent attendance in whatever you're doing, whether it be in person meetings or whether it be online meetings. You have to show up for the same ones at the same time, and you have to understand you're not getting immediate results. So for me, I started going to this noon meeting every single day. So I was going to 5 and then sometimes more meetings. Again, I didn't have anything else to do. And I started liking the people, and somebody, there were all different types of meetings. So the noon meeting would be one thing, and then there'd be a book club meeting, or there'd be, a different topic. They had a Taoist one, and I would go to that, or, reading through different books. So I got involved with the group, and then my attendance just naturally expanded into other areas. But it took about a month of daily and more meetings before I felt like Norm in the bar in Cheers, where you sign in for a meeting and everybody's like, "Hey, Colleen," it took a good month. And I know that if I was going to one meeting a week in my community or more, it would probably take 3 to 6 months before I felt like familiar faces. This is a routine. I belong here. So number one, if you're feeling any sense of isolation, do look for a support meeting. Number two, understand that you're not going to resonate with that support group probably on day one, and that it takes time that you need to invest and give it. So let me discuss the just a couple of groups that I would recommend if you ever want to go to a meeting. So I'm involved in She Recovers. They have a Facebook community so you can join, and there's just all sorts of people, especially in early sobriety, but some that aren't, talking about what they're going through, asking each other questions about detox and book suggestions and all the things. So sherecovers.org. If you find them on Facebook, you can join their group. I don't participate in their kind of front group anymore, which again is geared more towards early sobriety, but anybody can join, and you should check it out. Even and early sobriety, just because if you get through this program and you're 12 weeks, you're still early sobriety. Year 1 is considered early sobriety at the very least, and sometimes into year 2. So don't be afraid to try something just because you have this sense that you got it, because like I've shared in other videos, you will have times where you're on top of the mountain and this is going great. Then you will have times of doubt. And part of forward motion is recognizing and that you have a need, and that you need to meet that need. So feeling isolated and starting to question your own beliefs about sobriety, and maybe I should go back in, one of the best things you can do is start going to meetings and listen to all the bullshit other people are going through because they're struggling with relapse, or they're struggling to make the decision to quit. So it's not always that the takeaway is some inspired perfect message for you. Sometimes the takeaway is, yeah, I'm just happy to be here. Yeah, I'm just happy to be sober. And it's a humbling experience. Um, and sometimes it's an experience where you can share your experience with others. And so you're making a connection and reinforcing your own sobriety by sharing and cognitively thinking about what's worked for you. Meetings and groups are really powerful, just as you know from this group. But as this group, it may not always meet all of your needs. And so understanding She Recovers, again, to finish that story, I joined the meeting as a coach. So if you join, you might not see me participating in the group that you might join, but also understand they have a bunch of specialty groups that you can join. They have the LGBT, they have the people of color, they have healthcare professionals, legal professionals, groups that they're developing for eating disorders and cancer survivors and all sorts of things. So check out sherecovers.org. It's super awesome. And here's why it's even super cooler. They have retreats. I'm going on 2 retreats. I've signed up. One was kind of an accident. One I got on the waiting list and I just decided to go ahead and do it. But I'm going to Sedona. At the time of this video, that'll be in early October of 2021. And then I'm going to the Miami retreat in April of 2022. And it's just so cool. Previous retreats, they've had the sober superstars like literally Glennon Doyle. This next retreat, Ashley Judd is speaking in Miami. And Jada Pinkett, just cool, awesome speakers. So I'm so excited to go on the retreat. That's not the same as going to a meeting, just to rub elbows with sober superstars and remember that I deserve a community of people. And when you go on a She Recovers retreat, everybody's like-minded. The She Recovers mindset is that recovery is a patchwork. It's not the AA, hardcore, you need to toe the line and work the steps and listen to your sponsor and attend 90 meetings in 90 days. Where She Recovers is a patchwork. And it's very trauma informed. So they work with just all sorts of things. It's not what's wrong with you so much as like the focus is in AA. What's wrong with you? It's more of what happened to you and how can you move through that. That's also a new book by Oprah, by the way. If you're recognizing that, I get it. But She Recovers does focus on a lot of trauma, and they have yoga classes and dance, and just a great community. Another community online, if you're looking to check out just social media support, is Annie Grace's This Naked Mind. They have an amazing online that you can just type and listen. And, when you are in early recovery, sometimes you're just looking to fill time. That boredom thing, if you ever feel bored, get your ass to a meeting, or if you're scrolling on your phone and you're bored, go ahead and dial into something that can help you. And that's, the She Recovers Facebook group, or the This Naked Mind Facebook group. Another one is Sobriety Engine. Look that one up. And Recovery 2.0. You can just Google those things. They do have social media support. There's so much good stuff online that if you're gonna just scroll, you might as well be scrolling through stuff that inspires and keeps you motivated and informs you of, sobriety topics. So She Recovers, I would definitely recommend you check that out. But when should you go to a meeting? So, I spent the first 2 weeks of my early sobriety in AA meetings and then decided to forge my own path. Then at 5 months, just got lonely. So I signed up for this other group. And I'm going to post the links in below this video for the meetings I still participate in and host. So I host for Omar Pinto's SRC. Link will be down there. And right now, at the time of this recording, I host the Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern meeting, and I have for this about a year now. So you can attend that and check that out and join me if you want to try a meeting in the SRC. SRC meetings are small. They might be anywhere from 3 to 12 people at the most. Most of them are 3 to 5 people. So it's a really easy way to meet people and kind of get some quick friendships without, navigating groups of 30 and 40, like sometimes the She Recovers meetings can be. But I also host a meeting for She Recovers. They have about 2 support meetings a day for their general population. Like I said, they have other meetings for specialty populations, but their general populations, they have 2 meetings a day at least. And at the time of this recording, I host the Friday at noon meeting. I lost my train of thought. So when did I start? So I started going to meetings at about 5 months. I found the SRC and I found a small group and I felt like I belonged. I attended those daily meetings for about 6 months before I realized not that they were a waste of time, but that I needed to invest my time differently. I was feeling better. I was coming up on the 1 year sobriety mark, and I needed to start focusing on my business again. This program had yet to even be considered a thought, and I was ready to move out of needing support every day to providing support and doing that in my own way. And dialing into daily meetings at some point felt like it wasn't serving me. I'm not going to say it was a waste of time. I'm just saying it wasn't serving me. I knew I needed to be doing something else. And so throughout your recovery, it could be 6 months from now, it could be 5 years from now. Maybe you move to a new community, or maybe you experience a job loss or a job change, and you're just feeling isolated. Again, isolated would be a really good trigger point. That would be a negative thing to trigger your attendance. The other thing would be truly just seeking a community. Again, back to the She Recovers thing, they do have in-person meetups, especially in the larger city. It's my intention right now, although I'm not committed to it if it doesn't work for me, but it's my intention to start a She Recovers community where I live, because really the only thing we have in our community is AA, and She Recovers is a completely different thing. It's more like a meetup where you do activities with people. You meet for walks or drinks out, or some sort of activity. And I don't even really know what all it is. And that's on my vision board for maybe 2022 to consider a meetup for She Recovers in my community. But anyway, when you should look for sober support, if you're just wanting to make new friends, and the friendships in your life, while they may be serving you in other ways, you still feel isolated. Again, back to the isolation. You just still kind of feel like you need more. I have met some of my best friends in these online meetings. I cannot wait for the She Recovers retreat, because I'm going to meet somebody who has become literally one of my best friends. She lives in Virginia, and she's going to the Sedona retreat, and that will be our first time meeting in real life. And I just couldn't be more excited. And in this day and age with online relationships, um, you know, I don't have any sober friends in my real life, but I do have quite a few super close ones. I in the last year, I've probably made 4 people that I would say are best friends. If they needed me, I'd get on a plane tomorrow and meet them, and we'd talk regularly via Zoom. So you really can, if your real life is deficit, you really can make relationships, and it doesn't happen on day one. Again, you have to consistently go and get involved and push yourself out of your comfort zone, but it's an option. So to sum this video up, should you go to meetings? If you feel isolated or you need more. And which meetings should you go to? Just depends. If you want to go to in-person meetings, then check out, She Recovers in your community. AA is the one that's going to be everywhere, but there's Smart Recovery. There's other groups you can search in your area for in-person meetings, and just invest, commit to going for a month and seeing how it is. It's probably not going to be a perfect fit on day one. You kind of have to make it fit. But doing that, checking out meetings online. There's so much online, and they're growing every day. I mean, just my own little recovery university is just one of probably hundreds of, at this point, groups that you can join. Some of them you have to pay money to be a part of, and don't dismiss the quality of that. When membership has a barrier to entry, the quality of people tend to be higher. My SRC, and by higher, I just mean more committed, more positive, and not the people who are just stagnant in their problems and just circling the drain and just looking for attention. You just find a lot of that. And so joining groups, Tempest has group meetings, and I've joined those. They weren't my vibe for a variety of reasons. Love Holly Whitaker. Holly Whitaker, she Quit Like a Woman. She's the one that founded Tempest School. It's just not my vibe. Love her and love all of them. Just the group meetings didn't, I committed to going, and it just, I found something somewhere else. So anyway, look for meetings. look for your tribe. Know that if you're looking for sober friends, that's where you're going to find them. And then you can take that shit offline. And like I'm saying, start other meetups and start other groups and create friendships in other ways. But um, so should you go to meetings? Maybe. And probably. And yes, sometimes, and no, other times. So hope that makes everything real clear for you. Let me know if you want to talk about it.